16th, 2023, in the City Council chambers. Roll call, please.
Jack Guilfoyle.
Present.
Bob Alexander.
Here.
John Miller.
Here. You guys have any questions on the minutes of the past meeting? I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
We've got a first and second to accept the minutes as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Robert Alexander.
Yes.
John Miller.
Yes. Okay, next is claims. You guys have any questions on the claims?
If you don't mind giving us a few minutes, man,
Yeah.
we just got these.
Okay.
And I know the department heads haven't seen them. Have you signed off on claims?
What claims?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen no claim.
Usually they would get it before us. Steve, you still working on this, getting this in the right? This appropriation report, I repeated 14 pages, the same page.
I got, this is page 20. This is page 19, and then this is 2019. It's just the
Yeah.
same thing.
So see what happened?
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I don't know if it has
I got
page
14
one.
here. And, yeah.
I've just got the same page.
So you got page 1 here.
That's my fund, that's my accounts, and this is the other
Oh.
appropriation.
I've got 17 and
22, I got page 22.
Oh, you got 17 and 18, so I got 19 and 20. What do you got?
22.
So, yeah,
It's
21 and
14.
22. So,
14, okay.
yeah.
I'll get the rest of them over there then. I'll get them.
Those are mine, man.
Okay.
And these are all 17 and 18. So.
Okay. And those are all the same too?
This is a fund report.
Oh, okay.
I'll go down this one. I know it's, these here. Oh, these are, yeah. Here's the appropriation report.
Yeah, you'll probably need that back, it's repeated.
There's 5 and 6.
You still get that?
That's 5 and 6 there. One in here? I don't think so. I don't know. This rest I got is kind of paid. Yeah, that's what I got here. Oh, wait a minute. I think so. I got another appropriation report.
You got appropriation.
I had one that was grouped in with the rest of them. Yeah. There's a fund report.
Yeah, you'll have a fund, and you'll have accounts payable. Any
Page 2.
appropriations, yeah, that would go to him.
Here's another fund report from the last one. It's the same.
No.
Page 1 and 2. I've got 1 and 2 here also, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just going right through the accounts payable, because this is what we'll need to approve. Get them going. Yeah, it's this one right
Yeah,
here.
no, that's-
All the slashes.
Yeah, no, that's the same. That's a double, so I don't need to put it on. Did we keep everybody's cell phones on?
Mhm.
Close. Yeah, they're still
Cindy, you know if your cell phone is paid directly out of water, or is it split?
I think it was paid directly out of water.
You don't, do you have Sprint?
Yeah. Me and Scott's on the same plan.
Same plan?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
This is very twice, so you were asking about that.
Yeah, so it should be Cindy's phone, then it's just how they, the description.
That's here too, right?
Yeah, hoping the same number.
T-Mobile on there too, I think, so the Sprint, yeah.
Sprint's owned by
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile didn't because.
Yeah, it's under Sprint, but it's got water, Scott, cell, sewer, Scott, cell.
They have
I
their
put
own
her
phone.
on.
Okay, gotcha.
We have
So-
two
They have two, I have one.
Okay.
for the what on call with the SCADA panel, so they have
Alright.
access to the
Okay.
errors and stuff.
So, just with the general fund, Steve, so we still haven't got a disbursement from the county?
We've gotten several, but one of them was sent to another agency by mistake that had that $50,000. Scott, it was earmarked for Scott, or not Scott, but Chris, at the fire department. And we're yet to get that straightened out.
That would have been general fund, not public safety.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, it's, the current balance is what throws me off, $1,924 for the general fund.
I don't think he's transferred certified sheriff, has he?
Yeah.
claims that I can see. This is all sitting in zero.
Right, this year.
Yep, 11-1.
Certified chairs is 196.
Yeah. Your 1101 is general.
Mm-hmm. 4650.
Mm-hmm.
4650. Fine. Certified chairs, you have nothing. That's 196.
194.
Mine's just 196. Oh,
Yeah,
mine.
it's 196, 194, 32, that's what
So that's what should be in the general fund?
That should be added as a general fund.
We can move that to the general fund.
Okay. Yeah, because police is covered in that general fund.
Yes. So you can transfer money from that certified chairs.
Okay.
Let's say as soon. It's about 204. Of course, we plan on using some of that for the second phase of Main Street.
Right.
Yeah, for some that's just attending tonight's meeting, it's been 3 months since we've had balances, so we want to, before we approve our claims, obviously you want to check your balances and check our claims. Usually the department heads would already have scanned and looked over these and ensured that these invoices that are needing to be paid is correct. So we're just being very careful, but we would definitely would like to get claims approved tonight so they can get paid.
You're exactly right, that's what happened on those.
Still got changes all the way on, which is a good thing.
finance them, and then they're gonna have to look at them,
Mhm.
pending that approval, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're passing it based on what we've seen, but they have to look at it too.
And once we've seen their signature, we come back in.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Um,
Because I want them to look at it too, so they can get everything straightened out that they need to see.
Passing pending on them.
Yeah, we can just pass it pending department head approval.
Say approve it tonight, and go ahead and give it to you.
Make a motion to accept the claims pending the department head's approval. And then, once, they've all signed it, then, we'll come back in and sign it.
I'll second that.
Got a first and second. That we are passing the accounts payable registers pending the department heads to look over them, make sure this is what they are correct. They'll get it back to me, then I'll get a hold of the two Board of Works members, and they'll come in and sign off on them. A roll call vote, please.
Bob Alexander,
Yes.
Scott Miller.
Yes.
So, this evening, if you could get copies of these, and make sure the department heads have them before they leave.
We got,
Okay. Okay, next I've got Mike Hambright. He's here. He owns a tattoo shop on Main Street, and he'd like to speak to us about an event that he would like to have on Main Street. Mike?
Need to come up here?
That's fine.
That's fine right there. You got it.
Yeah, so, June 24th, I'm celebrating a year of business on Main Street here in Clinton. We've been pretty successful down there. We've had people come from all over, come to our little town and see us, and so I want to kind of try and give back to the community and host an event on June 24th. I talked to the guy across the road, Robert, who owns the auto mechanic shop, about possibly using his parking lot as well. Because what I'm wanting to ask is if we can shut down a section of Main Street for safety purposes. Just like from Main, just right down to the barber shop where their parking lot is. So that's all I would really need, so that way we can run power over. Because I'm planning on having a flatbed semi-trailer brought in to use as a stage for live music. I got a buddy who drives a truck, and he said he's willing to do that as long as the city of Clinton wouldn't be held liable for anything, which I'll talk to my insurance company, see if we can get something worked out there. So we're planning on, I'm going to try and get some vendors down there, and just see what we can do, and hopefully it, takes off and stuff. So probably going to have some music, which I'd talked to the mayor about, and the only thing there is that he said he was concerned about is like a noise ordinance after a certain time, but I'd plan on shutting it down around 8 p.m. So it'd be like 1 to 4, we'd have a DJ, doing music, and then from 4 to 8 o'clock we would have live music, and that's where the semi-trailer comes in, so these bands can use it as a stage, so that's where I'm at with it, and that's what I'm here for.
What was your date on that?
June 24th?
See, Mike, you said the band would be like from 4 to 8?
Yeah.
And we could look at closing off, so the traffic would just have to turn either head east or west on, and then stay off Main Street. Then we'd block the other side by State Farm, so that would allow the State Farm drive to be accessible in the beauty shop and the restaurants right there.
That's all I need right there.
That's all you need?
Okay.
Billy, you have any problems with that for
Nope.
traffic? Okay.
I'll make a motion to do a street closing for Main Street at the intersection, I guess it'd be south of the intersection of Elm and Main to the entrance to the parking lot of State Farm.
Yes.
That work.
All right.
Cindy will get barricades out there for that to be set up, for you to be sure to get it set up.
Yeah, you can coordinate with her down the road. And she can get you set up.
All right, I appreciate you guys.
No problem. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'll make a motion to do the street closing June 24th, 1 to 8 on Main Street, south of Elm to the parking lot for State Farm.
I'll second it.
Sorry.
Okay, we got a first and second to allow the road closing on June 24th for Mike Hambright. It'll be south of Elm Street down to the entrance to the insurance agent on the east side of the street. And it will be from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Roll call vote, please.
Scott Miller
Yes.
and Bob Alexander.
Yes.
One question, was it 4 or 1?
1.
1, got it.
1 to 8.
Yeah, 1 to 8.
Okay.
Okay, next we have
Tonight for you is 2 pay requests. Number 5 for the Shield Contracting in the amount of $25,602.50. And then number 6, which is the final, releasing their retainage, $12,535.46. And then lastly, a change order number 4 for phase 1, which is a final quantity adjustment, which amounts to an increase of $3,471.05, and that's reflected in the pay request. So what we'd ask is approval of the 2 pay requests and the change order. Those will then go to the grant administrator to draw down the funds, and that would close out phase 1.
Go ahead and make approval for pay application number 5 and 6 and the change order the increase of $3,471.05 for the stormwater.
I will second.
got a first and second to accept pay app 5 and 6 and change order for stormwater project. Roll call vote, please.
Alexander,
Yes.
Scott Miller.
Yes.
Phase 1, phase 2, and the improvement phase 1.
Did you sign that thing so I can give it to him?
Oh.
Go ahead and sign it. Either any of us can sign it.
Oh, okay.
Should just be one spot.
Yeah. Okay, right here.
And the next item I have is for the hydrant replacement project that was also done by DeShield Contracting. We have 2 pay applications. Number 3 is in the amount of $39,233.49. And then number 4, which is retainage release, $6,810.12. And then lastly, there is a change order. There's a final quantity adjustment that amounts to a decrease of $925 to make the final contract amount $136,202.50. So we would recommend to approve the change order and the 2 pay requests.
Any situations out there you came across, Cindy, as they close this out? Everything's good?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to accept the pay application number 3, amount of $39,233.49, and the pay application number 4, an amount of $6,810.12, and the change order number 1, which is amount by 925 to 136,202, reflect the quantities installed.
I will
And that'll
second.
be a decrease.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a first and second to accept the pay app number 3 and pay app 4 and change order 1 on the hydrant replacement project by the Shield. Roll call vote, please.
Tom Alexander,
Yes.
Scott Miller.
Yes.
And the last item I have is related to Community Crossings Matching Grant Program. We have a contract for us to assist the city with those services. If you recall, the second phase of 9th Street, we're going to use Community Crossings funds to do that second phase. That application goes in July. So there are four different tasks that are included in this contract. One is to assist with the application and get that submitted, get phase 2 funded. Second is to prepare the bid documents, which have already been prepared as part of the, we pulled that part of the design out from the original project, but is to get that project bid and ready for construction, administrate the closeout of the funding, and then also update your pavement asset management plan so you're eligible for subsequent years of funding. So it's just like the others, hourly, not to exceed.
Make a motion to accept the agreement for engineering services through HWC for the Community Action Program for the second phase of the 9th Street project.
Got a first and
I'll
second.
second. I'll second.
Sorry. Got a first and second to accept the engineering services from HWC on the Community Action Program, which will be on phase 2 of 9th Street. Roll call vote, please.
Scott Miller,
Yes.
Robert Alexander.
Yes, that's community crossings,
Yeah.
not
Crossings,
action.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Strike the action to crossings.
That's all I've got, unless anybody has any questions.
No, I don't. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
You want to take these with you tonight, so then you...
Yeah, I'll get them after the.
Okay. Anybody have any questions at this time? Anybody in the audience have any questions? Any board member have a question? Or comment?
9th Street project coming along okay?
Yeah, isn't it, Cindy?
Oh, yeah. It's nice.
There's a lot of, those water lines been in there since the 40s.
They crack as soon as they get close to them.
Yeah. But it is coming along great, so moving
I
along.
went and looked at it over the weekend.
Yeah.
They got the valve box put in right there on North Street,
Okay.
and they do have the water line put together. The problem is at night fine, because the map shows the 4-inch going straight through, and it doesn't, it deadheads right there. So they gotta figure out what they're gonna do there on 9th Street.
They run into any surprises at the intersection there they had to tear up?
I think the intersection went okay.
Good.
The alignment was a little different than what the old map showed, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
actually it's going to save a little money because there's fewer connections that have to be made there.
They tore the rails out.
Yeah, I saw the rails when they first dug in, and
They weren't that deep either.
saw a lot of bricks laying down there too.
Oh, yeah.
So how's the residential and the business, anybody affected so far with the service line?
They haven't, the ones that has had leaks, that we repaired them, just enough to get them going.
Okay.
So there is quite a few chaps that are from the old, I guess, houses that were through there. So we had to go through and get some out. There is a lot of lead corpse in there. So
They're
we
taking
take
pictures.
and documented all that so we can do it to that.
To our report?
The
120.
Yep.
120.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
So far, they're on schedule though, right?
Yeah, they're doing pretty good.
Weather's been pretty good, really, other than the leaky water lines, I'm sure. Okay,
Keep up the quick response. I know how those projects sometimes
I
can be.
am now out of 4-inch clamps. So I ordered 4 for what we put in up there. Matt's trying to get me some back as quick as possible. They went to Industrial Supply and bought some, but they're only the half moons, they're not the full wraparounds. So far, the main has cracked almost all the way around.
Well, that also tells us where a lot of our water,
Yes, there has
Loss
been
is
a lot of
coming
leaks
from.
up there that we just didn't see.
yeah. I mean, you had the concrete and you had the brick and the asphalt that wasn't surfacing, so.
Yeah.
The lines of 1940s era, you can imagine what the whole city, where all the leaks are. Main Street was a waterfall. I'm sure 9th Street, as they progress to the ones that are being really used, they'll see really nice waterfall features in the middle of the street. I want to compliment Scott and his crew also on fixing the sewer situation we had. It wasn't an easy task, but they were out there manning it 24/7 until we can get the contractor in there to assist and repair and replace after we got it dug up. But it just shows that sometimes you're just going to have to do what you can to continue the flow of the sewer. It's not an easy task sitting out there pumping and pumping. But it also shows that not all things can be repaired by the city labor force. When you got into that sewer and seeing how deep that is, we do not have the box to put down in there to repair safely. So just let you guys know, I'm sure they could probably do it if they had the right tools. They would have been able to do that whole project.
Hey, Scott, west of the track down there at Sportland, what are you guys digging up down there? I saw there's.
It's an 18-inch clay towel
Okay.
that broke on the top. I'm not sure if it's from, I don't know what it's from. I think it might be from an old mine shaft, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
But the new ones are corrugated. This one's clay, so it had been there for a long time.
Right.
We've got it. We jetted it and unplugged it. We're going to try to jet north further this week, and then see if we can't get the flow to continue. And if we can't, we're just going to repair it and then bury it back, and then it may be abandoned. I'm not sure.
That corrugated pipe, I think, was put in by DNR.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I just saw you had it dug up over there. I was curious what you had going on. I didn't go over and look at it, physically look at it. All right, good enough.
All right. If nothing else, adjourn the meeting and council meeting start in 5 minutes.
Make a motion.
Got it. You gotta be quicker than that, though.
Yeah.
He's gonna adjourn. Will you make a motion?
A little slow at night. Oh, it's my bedtime.
My stick, I just
Bring to order the Clinton City Council meetings, regular session, May 16th, 2023, in the council chambers at 7:25. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Jack Guilfoyle,
Present.
J.T. Walker,
Present.
John Moore,
Present.
Dean Strong,
Present.
Bart Mooney,
Present.
Marty Shortridge.
Yep.
Does anyone have any questions on the minutes of the past meeting?
One at a time.
Yeah, 'cause you got launching you pretty much yet.
So I move we accept the minutes for the March 21st meeting as written.
I'll second it. Got first and second to accept the March minutes. Roll call vote, please.
J.T. Walker,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
Dean Strong,
Yes.
Bart Mooney,
Yes.
Marty Shortridge.
Yep.
Move that the minutes for the April 16th meeting be approved as presented.
I'll second.
Got first and second to accept the April 16th minutes for the meeting. Roll call vote, please.
J.T. Walker,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
Dean Strong,
Yes.
Bart Mooney,
Yes.
Marty Shortridge.
Yep.
Okay, next we have the financial reports and claims.
The same step Board of Works got, Bob?
Yes.
That's why we wanted to keep the operations going, allow the department heads to ensure that those invoices are correct to those accounts before we would assign it. And then just pending on their approval, and we'll come back and assign it, so the bills can get paid. But they need to get it first, I mean, what's that?
Steve's gonna give them copies before they leave tonight, so they'll have them.
So technically, all we have to do is acknowledge that we've seen what the Board of Works saw earlier.
And then, like I said, each department head will get their copies tonight, and then any issues they have, they can come back to me with them or sign, and then I'll get with the Board of Works and let them know that they come in and sign, if they do, and then they can sign on.
Well, I'm concerned with these negative numbers. And I'm concerned on some of these appropriations, they're down below 60%.
down below 66%, which means that they might run tight at the end of the year because they should be at 66.67 after 4 months. And just as a matter of reference, last year, according to the year-end report, we did not spend as much as we took in, which demonstrates some pretty good fiscal responsibility on the part of our department heads, but we did spend more than what we were supposed to spend out of the general fund. So, but then I also have concerns about this fund with certified shares. At my request, it started getting reported separately, but technically, isn't it supposed to somehow, somewhere or another, arrive in the general
Within the
fund?
general fund, right.
And it's not showing up yet. It's still in its own thing, and there's 100 and some odd thousand in it, and the general fund's down to that. I think we better be transferring some money.
As long as the board approves it, I'll transfer it. Somebody make a motion.
You've got the authority to pay a lot of these bills when you receive them.
Right. They, I got a list here from the IC code that does give areas that, that can be paid, like insurance premiums, license permits, rental agreements, payroll especially.
Utility bill.
Taxes. I'm sorry?
Utility bill.
Utility bill's another one, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
We reauthorized that,
Oh, God. He's got the number.
probably 20 years ago. We reaffirmed that with the clerk.
And he has the codified version. He has a new version of it. From Jen.
Okay.
So why are we still having problems with the phones?
well, for one thing, the accounts were still in Lori's name and her email address. And it wouldn't, I'm pretty sure we've got everything transferred over to my email address as of today, so.
Her email or her city email?
Her city email.
Her city.
Well, I'm guessing that because I don't have privilege to it, so I don't know. But I know that they did have her listed as a primary on that.
Okay.
So it's now, everything from Trust Indiana to Sprint, you name it. I mean,
And we have no backup on any of this stuff? No second party to fall in place in case something happens?
Patty's on that, but I don't believe that they've been saying, I believe that the bills have been going straight to Lori, so
The Sprint bills get their paper bills.
yeah.
They come to you.
But I mean, I'm just, overall, let's just say this happens again. I mean, do we have any backup plan?
As,
I mean, God forbid something happens and you're gone tomorrow. Are we gonna be 6 months without finances again, or does the city now have a backup plan in place to have somebody take over as a secondary to get all these bills?
well, the secondary, I would think logically would be Patty, so,
Well, let me clarify the question. Do we have this established with all these companies so they know?
no, we don't.
Okay. I think that's something we look into, that we have somebody who can step into place so we don't go 6 months again without this information.
In actuality, what we could do is use Tony, who's my deputy. Now, she's part-time, but still, I mean, she would be available if Patty didn't want to assume the responsibility, or she got a workload of her own, so,
You have a deputy?
yeah.
Are you aware that you need to bring that before this board?
I was not.
State statute states that you can appoint the number of deputies that you need, that you feel you need to conduct your business with the approval of the legislative body, which is this body here, and I don't think that has happened.
No, it is not.
And she's been paid.
He has been paid.
So it gets deeper, doesn't it?
I'm sorry?
I'd say the hole gets deeper as far as finances, and we're paying somebody that has not been approved.
Well, actually, it's coming out of my operating budget, so.
I don't care where it's coming from.
Yeah.
It's still being paid without approval. It'd be the same thing if one of our department heads went out here and hired somebody without the Board of Works approval. So that needs to be corrected. Another question I have, I said during the Board of Works meeting, why weren't the department heads given the courtesy of seeing their claims? The claims docket before the meeting. Now that's got to be readdressed.
Right.
Why weren't they given that opportunity to review their claims?
There's no oversight on my part, that's all I can say.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, this means annual, right?
That's the amount, according to the way I understand this report, that's the amount that's left.
This is annual, not every 6 months.
No, that's
And then one other thing I have concerning the council, we have always gotten our packet usually on Friday with the mayor's part of the minutes and the ordinances and now all of our financial reports. Do you foresee that happening in the next month?
Foresee it happening on a Friday?
We should get it, there's a ruling that we should get it on Friday prior to the council meeting, so we have time to go through it. This is total chaos as far as I was concerned this evening, with the Board of Works just getting claims put in front of them, and the same with us. They're approving authority, but we just acknowledge the claims. So is there a way, what I'm asking, that you would have your stuff ready on Friday when the mayor has the packets ready for pickup or distribution?
Right, I can do that.
What's the negative balances on the park cameras?
That carried over from January, or from December. We discussed that a little bit, John.
they were $16,000 in the red at the end of the year.
Where's the cameras?
They're
Off the parks?
they're
They're installed.
They're installed.
So they're installed.
Yes.
There's Portland.
Sporting Park.
Would you not need one down at the riverfront where stuff gets torn up, or several?
We attempted to put one down there and we ran out of funds. It was going to be about $9,000 to put it in down there with the cameras to cover from the fountain up to the playground there by the tennis courts. It's on the radar screen when funds become available.
And that is part of the Parks Department, correct?
John, I know you remember, so if you look at page 9.
Page 9 of which report? Appropriations.
Good.
That one? What fund is that? Community Center.
You may know Gene, I know he's good with you.
Huh?
I know he's good with me. That's fine. You may be. Usually when I'm looking at a financial statement, Don, that's an error.
Huh?
Usually when I'm looking at a financial statement, that's an error, because then we have more money in the account than we started with.
Well, there's an 8-ball, there's a little bit of weird things happening with the accounting. Page 8 was that, page 9. Which fund? $1,181 or $1,180 that's the unencumbered balance.
So we just
And that's the community center deposit fund.
we received more money than we anticipated, is that how I'm reading it?
Well, they rent it out and that money gets put in there.
So that could be over our anticipated income.
But
And then we get rent from the,
We understand it's a negative balance, so if the deposit fund, how are we in the negative?
that's a good question.
what's the community center showing negative balance?
Yeah.
No, but the deposit fund shows a negative balance. What fund number is that, Bart?
The last one.
Well, the fund number.
Oh, 2226.
No. Yep. That would be about 2228.
They show a negative appropriation balance? Oh, because there's no appropriation for it.
Right.
So they're not budgeted. So anything that gets spent shows as a negative appropriation.
And see, that's another screw up. Is that 2228 fund or
226.
2226, okay, thank you.
See, we pay utilities out of that, we pay insurance out of that.
Community center. And see, that's another thing they did on this appropriation thing. They've got, for every fund, they've got an appropriation amount, and some of them aren't budgeted.
Yeah, some aren't budgeted, some of, that.
And that's got things goofed up too.
So it makes everything look like it's a negative appropriation balance because there is no, because it starts with appropriation at zero.
Bingo.
So anything that gets
Right.
spent, you only budget for your civil departments, basically. Non-sewer, non-water.
And then the second thing is, like on the unsafe building, the appropriation for 2023 is 15 grand. They've already spent 3,000 more than that. But there's actually 53,000 in the fund.
I don't know where that appropriation, did you guys do a budget for unsafe this year? I don't know.
Well, it was on her form, budget
Was
form
it?
one.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay, well, we should have done an additional then, if we were gonna do budgets.
Well, I got a love letter from the Bailey head today. There's a bunch of additionals that should have been done.
7881.
DLGF considers their home rule fund,
That's not tax dollars.
so they don't have to approve the budgets. They just approve the budgets and the tax dollars. So,
Well, I just-
to some
I see
extent,
the word
they
deposit
let us
there.
be flexible
And
with
then I see
those.
negative
We should be
amount.
consistent.
The bank accounts are overdrawn, or the accounts are overnight. And then I see we've gone
Yeah.
further into that.
We got quite a bit on liens that they.
Yeah, we did, I saw the numbers, it was
Yeah.
43,000.
Yeah.
Between sewer and cleanups.
Yes.
So anyway, I would make a motion that we acknowledge seeing what the Board of Works was given as a funds report, because technically, legally, that's all they have to do.
We're voting that we see it.
Beg your pardon?
We're voting that we see it, not
Well-
acknowledging it's okay, right?
We're just admitting we
Okay.
saw
All
it.
right. I'm good with that.
On this, water specialist, looks like he gets paid twice a month, $545. I thought he was $20 an hour with a maximum of 4 hours a week.
Do you realize what Leonard Health does for this city?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you do.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you do. He does more than just those water samples. He comes in here, he does a lot of work with us right now on 120 water. If he wasn't here doing his portion on 120 water, which it's coming up, it's going to be big in the next 2 years. So he puts his time in and he does a great job for the city. You can ask Cindy. We rely on Leonard quite a bit, don't we?
And we have a contract with him.
Yes.
I thought it was the contract that specified $20 an hour and 5 hours a week.
No, that's a salary ordinance.
Yes. And Leonard travels a lot too. He's got another class he's got to take here shortly. These people have to keep up on the licenses. If they don't, then we're in violation. We don't want to be in violation because the fine's going to be up to $40,000, so.
There's a motion, a second on the floor to accept this financial.
Okay, I've got a first and second to accept that they have viewed the financials. Roll call vote, please.
J.T. Walker,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
Gene Strong.
Yes.
Bart Mooney,
Yes.
Marty Short.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have any old business. Under new business, Dean, you've got the ordinance for the codification. Do you want to read it, please?
Yes, just one note of correction. It would be ordinance number 5/2023-1 instead of 2. It's an ordinance approving a supplement to the City of Clinton Code of Ordinances. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Clinton, 1, that the 2023 S-9 supplement to the Code of Ordinance for the City of Clinton, Indiana is hereby accepted. 2, that all other provisions of the Code of Ordinances not otherwise amended, repealed, or replaced by the 2023 S-9 supplement shall remain in full force and effect. Passed on this first reading. If we pass it tonight, be the first reading, which is today's date, 16th day of May 2023.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Got a first and second to accept the first reading of ordinance 5-2023-1, approving supplement to the City of Clinton Code of Ordinances. Roll call vote, please.
J.T. Walker,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
Gene Strong.
Yes.
Bart Mooney,
Yes.
Marty Short.
Yep. Make a motion, we suspend the rules and have a second read tonight.
Second.
Got a first and second to accept, to suspend the rules and do the adoption on the second reading for this evening. Roll call vote on that.
J.T. Walker,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
Gene Strong.
Yes.
Bart Mooney,
Yes.
Marty Short.
I make a motion that we pass ordinance number 5-2023-1, the ordinance approving the supplement to the City of Clinton Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Got a first and second to approve the second reading, which will be the adopted reading of ordinance 5-2023-1, ordinance approving supplement of the City of Clinton Code of Ordinances. Roll call vote, please.
J.T. Walker,
Yes.
John Moore,
Yes.
Gene Strong.
Yes.
Bart Mooney,
Yes.
Marty Short.
Yep.
Hey Steve, we're both missing 21 and 22, me and Dean. I don't know if anybody else is. Are you missing 21 and 22? One off the bat.
Take them together.
No, that's it.
What page is
21 and 22 is missing on both our packets.
21 and 22 are missing on ours.
I got 23.
Yeah. I think we're all missing 21 and 22.
Yep, I got 23, but it goes from 20 to 23. So I guess I'll have to resend my water. Thank you.
that's just one page, so, I'll get that printed out for you.
You get yours, Bob?
I don't think so.
So,
20, we're missing 21,
21, 22.
So you're gonna get those for him, Steve?
I'm sorry?
You're gonna get those
Yeah.
for him?
Scott, where'd Scott go?
I think it went to the restroom.
Huh?
I think he went to the restroom.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Do you know anything about 941 fuel tax?
Mm-hmm.
The page is missing anything on now, it hasn't been paid for March.
He called me about that today, so I might have been what he was working on, but if he's doing it now, it's late.
I think that's what I'm missing. That's what's on that page. Right down. If you go down to that page, that's all payroll letters. Page 23 ends with payroll and 20 starts sewer, so I think it's in between that. So I want to see what balance is left in that field notes in that page.
Possibility because the payroll Medicare has been run out of still.
That's what I noticed. That's what I'm asking.
I thought mine was pretty thick.
Better go tell Steve, 'cause I think he's probably trying to fight that printer right now.
fix, general fund.
Thank you.
You guys good?
Thank you very much. Did you get me? You guys snuck this one on there, so it must be a separate report.
It's not on
See, that'd be federal, right?
there. Yeah, the
Federal's in the line.
payroll FICA hasn't been paid, it's still at 2,500. The payroll federal withholding, that's withheld, so that accumulates.
Mhm. Keystone brought that to my attention. Keystone brought that to my attention. That's why I know that information.
Thing about it is, I'm wondering what is the depository requirements are. Well, I mean,
The penalties.
you've got employees, you've got to deposit, if you, payroll is X amount of dollars or more, you got to deposit the withholding and stuff.
Well, when I asked on the review, they said ours was done quarterly. So that means after the last paycheck in March, it should have been paid the next week. So we're way behind. Those would be huge penalties for that.
I'm only behind, but there will be a penalty.
So,
We're only a month behind, but there will be a penalty, and they compound it daily.
mhm.
Me too. I know. In November. Yeah, yeah. in November.
See, that's just like last night's project. $72,000 in the red, and it shouldn't have.
How much money went in? 240,
no, 241,000 or something like that.
Let's see, it's showing expenses year to date at $462,638.
I see some of that money we get reimbursed through PennDOT.
So the 941 for the first quarter, is it late?
It is, but it's done.
And then are you gonna bring an ordinance to us or something next month about your deputy?
I can, yes.
Well, we probably ought to do that and make it legal if you're gonna. Have you gotten on the DLGF's website and looked at all the stuff for clerk treasurers yet?
2,000 pages. Not in its entirety, no.
But you have got, I
I
mean,
mean, I looked through it, yeah.
I thought the assistant was already approved.
when did we vote to approve her?
When Lori wanted an assistant, it was already in the
No,
ordinance.
no,
Wasn't it?
We told her the same thing. She could have an assistant. She had to bring
The
it
ordinance
before the
says
board.
they're allowed to hire someone, but it has to have council approval.
That's right, and she never did.
There was money budgeted.
There might be money budgeted, but it hasn't been approved by this
The
board.
council has to approve it per the ordinance.
Pretty fast.
And then, actually, the clerk treasurer has discretion to set the salary for the deputy.
So the general fund being at minus $2,000.
I beg your pardon?
The general fund being at minus $2,000, is that right? So this one?
Well, it's not minus 2,000 right at the moment.
Right, but it's close, right?
Well, it's 1924 black.
So how do we proceed with next month?
He's gonna have to transfer some money from certified shares.
Right.
Which it should be in there anyway, but he's gonna transfer it. Certified shares has like 197,000, I believe.
Yeah, it's up there, I know, we've got money in it.
And you can do that approval, so we're not gonna hold anything up for another
No.
month? You can do that, okay.
Tax money.
Yeah, plus we give taxes
Tax
first
money
sometime
coming
in
in.
June.
Don't want more delays.
Pardon?
Don't want any more delays.
No.
The certified shares is $196,194.32 as of this report was around now. And then, one of the things that the audit has clued me in on is we are going to be written up because we don't have a COVID American Rescue Plan.
Money's already spent now.
Well, part of it was, and that we're in trouble for that too. But we've got to come up with a plan as far as what we're gonna spend it on. And we're only allowed to spend it on infrastructure, quality of life stuff. We're allowed to spend it on more than what we're allowed to spend it on when we first got it, but we're still, it's categorized and you gotta spell it out how you're gonna do it. And it's something we need to get approved as quick as we possibly can because it should have been done last year.
How about seed money for the roads, for the crossing grant?
What was it?
Well, that's infrastructure.
I know.
So I would assume that it could be used for that, but I wouldn't want to
You've
say
got money in
all be used for that because there's an excess in local road and street.
Well, you can't use LRS money for paving. It has to be that MVH.
NVH.
There's MVH restricted. It's got quite a bit in it. And that's what we're gonna use for that,
It's got 204 in it, but I thought local road and street, I don't understand, that's another thing. In the budget, they only appropriated 30,000.
yeah.
But there's $159,000 in the bank in that account. Now,
But you can't use it for paving.
what, local road and street? But you could use it for other stuff,
Yeah.
like that
Sand,
backhoe
salt.
that we bought that we paid for out
That's
of.
what she did, that's how
Yeah.
we appropriated it.
Yeah, I know.
That's what she did.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I know.
yeah. So that's why it's so high. But she buys her salt and sand out of that.
Salt, sand, gravel, asphalt. And
Oh,
my-
you're allowed to do your patching out
My
of it?
patching comes out of LRS.
Oh, okay.
Put it in that hot box.
So you need to form a committee on how to spend the money then, according to regulation.
Oh, we definitely need to come up with a plan, yeah.
Me and Bart knew about this 4 months ago.
Well, we've known about it for over a year, actually. But it should have never been done.
There hasn't been any money spent wrongly, has there?
Well, yeah, the first 200 and some odd thousand was spent wrongly because it wasn't appropriated.
Like a high school kid with a new credit card.
And I do know that part of it was used for, to pay for stuff that they already had other funds allocated to pay for, which now we've got 59,000 sitting in a grant fund, 39,000, 59, something like that. We can't spend on anything but water utility related stuff, but it could have been spent on that backhoe since the water department uses it.
It wasn't split among the 3 departments?
It was, but I'm just saying they could have used that money that was left over from that grant, and then that grant fund would be empty, and we would have gotten our money's worth from it. But the way it is now,
We gotta find a way to spend it on water.
if we don't spend it on water, it just sits there, and I don't know, do we lose it eventually?
I don't think so,
I think it just sets it the way I understood it.
till we use it.
Okay.
But we could have used it there and saved us
Right.
$59,000.
Yeah. So on these, when do you have in a timeline as far as when you're gonna have all this stuff maybe together?
As far as,
Well, as far as the negative balances, either turning into positive balances, or you telling us, hey, we're in deep doo-doo here, we gotta,
well, you the
Buy a
council
printing
president,
press.
I'll get with you if you don't mind, and we can put our heads together as to where to get money from. We talked about the certified shares, and the MBH fund. Now, one of those is a non-restricted fund that we could use.
but we're gonna be needing that for the
Phase 2.
Ninth Street
Ninth
phase
Street,
two.
yeah.
But there are other funds,
Mm-hmm.
but also you are gonna get a distribution from the county sometime in June.
Yeah.
If you don't get it by the end of May, you will get it in June. That's
Yeah, that's
usually.
another thing that we're looking at is
So,
the money coming in from the county, so,
well, I just don't like the idea of, I don't want anybody to go without a paycheck, and I don't want anybody's phone to get shut off, and then have the city sewer backing up in my basement because the alarm went off and nobody can answer it. Which, that shouldn't happen, but it could happen to somebody.
How are we supposed to do payroll for next week? Because I have people being paid out of MBH.
Well, there's money in MDH, Cindy. Yeah, in both of them, even the restricted.
That is a payroll.
Oh, no,
I can't use it.
it's
Yeah, it's in the
3680 in the red.
It's been in the red since like November, because I questioned it then.
That is true.
The street lights was a big one that was being taken out of prior. I don't know how Steve's paying street lights now, in blue. But I have employees that are paid out of the street department, including myself. How are we supposed to do that?
Good question.
well, we can move that certified shares to compensate for that, can't we?
And we won't have to make fire and police, you right? Because that's out of general fund. Am I right, guys?
See, I don't understand why, because the appropriation amount for 2023 for MVH was $279,910. And at the end of the year, there was $19,039.38 as of December 31st. And we've only received 38,000 so far, but we've spent 61,000 out of it. How many people's on payroll out of that?
Not very many. 2.5, including me. A fourth of my payroll is out of MVH.
That MVH was in the red, I believe. in the
What
first
eats your
year or two.
MVH is your streetlights. That's a big one.
Well, it was not, it had 19,000 in the bank at the end of the year on December 31st.
It hit the red in November.
Well, then whoever filed the year-end report,
Because I questioned it, I think it was in the red. If we look back in November, I think it was in the red about like $8,600.
according to the report filed with Gateway on December 31st, there was $19,039.38 in there. Supposedly in 2023, it started the year at $167,515 was taken in. $157,593 was dispersed, which should have left a cash balance of 19 grand. Now you're trying to tell me that, let's see, 19 plus 11 in the hole, that would be 30,000 of us disappeared, nobody knows where it is?
No clue, honey. We haven't seen claims since November. So what's been paid out of those departments, I have no clue.
So everything was reconciled, right?
Just fine with her tax money.
Do what?
Reconciliation of the accounts have been done. That was supposed to be done by March.
It's supposed to be done by the
We
end of
were so
February,
far
filed
behind,
on
yeah.
Gateway. It got filed April, sometime in April, it got filed.
So they did
16th
that.
or something, I think, wasn't it?
Huh?
Right, the 16th, I think, wasn't
Something like that, I can't remember. I printed the day off when I printed the report, and I left that thing at home.
Department heads, when was the last time you saw claims?
November.
November?
There was one point, maybe Marchish, I might have saw a couple.
But you didn't see your whole claims?
Oh, I haven't seen appropriation report.
None of it.
So, I guess my question to council is we kind of, I'll not say approve, but acknowledge that there's now numbers in front of us. And we're gonna have to review those before they get approved. What time frame are we looking at for that? And just a short period of time, I got to look through what Bob had. That only has the last month in it. We really need to have those claims from January 1, because just in the short period of time I looked through it, I can see at least 2 that are being paid out of the wrong fund. So back to what John was speaking of, where we need to be at that 66%, I'm at 68%. Like, my light bill for the firehouse is cutting on my operating expense, where there's a line item in the public safety budget for utilities for the firehouse. So I don't know how long that's been going on for, but that could potentially bump those numbers back up. So there's a lot of things that aren't being taken out of the right fund. So what he has, what you guys have in front of you, I believe is just for the last month, because there's stuff on there that I know should be on there that is not on there. So that's the biggest concern. We need to make sure that what we turn POs in for, where we say, here's what we want this to be paid out of, that is actually what's being paid out of.
Okay, on your fire department, according to this, your part-time salary and wages you've got 26.20% left of what you've got
And that's
budgeted.
probably accurate because we went the first 4 months of the year just basically paying a full-time guy out of the part-time until he transitioned to full-time, so that's probably pretty accurate.
Okay, you've got 64% left of your FICA, which that's cutting it close. You've got a clothing allowance that, you've got $2,000 left in out of $8,500 that was allocated or appropriated.
John,
Yes.
can I stop just a second? I want to hit Chris's point. I asked that question at the beginning of the meeting, and I was told this was everything.
That's not
That's not
everything.
everything.
I can promise you from.
I've stopped.
No.
Okay,
all
it's all right,
bills.
it's okay, it's okay. It's not you guys, I know, but I asked this question when I started. When I was handed this report, I asked why we don't have February through May. I'm looking at April through May. So I just voted yes, that I was told I received all the information, and I have not. So I changed my vote to no. I have not seen all the information. So I would like to change my vote to no. I don't know how we do that, but I was told this was everything, and it is not.
Well, but you voted actually what the council, or what the board saw. So
Yes,
we
right. Exactly.
We acknowledge receipt of
Receipt
all the
of what the
claims,
councils, I mean, what the board of
Board of
works
Works
saw.
received.
but we don't
Was
have,
acknowledged.
do we have the claims?
What we acknowledged was that we will not, we'll
Okay.
approve the claims,
Right.
the claims that's presented to us tonight, which is not all the claims. If you go to your accounts payable, there's little hash marks. That's the POs that the department heads have gotten. That's all we've seen, and so when we start seeing that,
No, because I asked why this report was April through May.
so,
I've not
Well-
seen, we haven't seen February, March, or April.
That's because there is no February, March, or April.
Oh, so these are, so we went with no entries from,
Well, no, there's been
January.
entries, but we haven't seen a report.
but that's what I'm saying.
There's not been entries because
We
I've got
acknowledge-
over $3,000 worth of bills that weren't paid. That
Exactly.
a local company asked about being paid. I asked Steve about them, and he goes, "Well, I've never seen these bills."
I've got a list of POs that I gave Steve last week, and I've still not got POs from.
So what was the vote again?
That's
And
why I
I just gave
asked.
another one.
That's why I asked them that, when was the last that they saw claims, and they all said November.
Right.
So how, you know, it's unfair to them that they're out there trying to provide
I
the
agree.
city services, and they don't know what the heck they got to work.
No, I agree with that. I'm not arguing that point, but what did we say here? Because that's what I want to make sure.
Acknowledge
Saw,
what the council saw.
what the
Okay.
Board of
Board
Works.
works.
I mean, the
Board of Works
Board of
saw.
Works, I'm
Works
sorry.
saw.
Board of
Very
Works.
few claims that you have there.
And we didn't approve claims because
No,
this, we wanted department heads to look at this and
And what we
present the
saw was
problems to
the
the
same
clerk
financial
treasurer
report
before we
we
even
received.
approve a claim.
right, but I'm talking about the financial report.
Yeah, we saw the same financial report that they saw.
But we haven't seen the financial report for February, March.
But we saw the same one that they saw. That's what we
That's
put
all
to
we're
it.
saying.
That's all I'm saying.
they didn't say they saw it
We are
either.
asking for from January to now.
That's what I'm asking, that's what I asked for. When I was handed this, I asked that question. Where is January through May? Because
No
I'm
one's seen
looking at April through May.
None of us have seen it, or
Okay.
none of us.
So we
I've
have,
stopped
That's where our
all-
bills haven't been paid.
that's what I'm, that,
My guys aren't allowed to buy any clothing allowance stuff, anything.
so
Right now,
I don't want to
can't
acknowledge
say
that I
what
received stuff I haven't received. And I
But
was
you did
told,
receive it.
I haven't received January through,
No, but you received what the Board
I-
of Works received.
okay.
And what you do is you do it on a monthly, I don't know if you were here at the beginning. First thing I stated was, there is no signature, so I explained to Steve,
Mhm.
before these ever present to us, department heads have to sign it for that month. Well, we don't have the February,
Right, I
March,
understood
and
that.
April, so all we have is what was in front of us, so we didn't approve it.
Okay.
That's all we're saying, we didn't approve nothing.
And as
Because
of,
department heads gotta get back with us.
April 30th, you've only got 921 left in your repairs account. You've spent $5,186 out
And
of
that's where I think if we get the claims from the year, then we'll find out that there's
A
been
lot of
stuff
stuff
taken
in there,
out,
that's what
because
you
I
said.
know at one point,
That's exactly what you said, John.
I can take, for example, my credit card. that we each have. So every month, that gets broke down to where this is coming out of repairs and maintenance, this is coming out of operating, this is coming out of clothing. And when I took Steve the report, he said, oh, that's already been paid. Well, I'm glad that the credit card got paid, but what was taken from where?
Well, and
And I
that's a
think
good
that's what we
point.
have to figure out. I think we're just gonna have to sit down with all the claims from January, February on.
Well, you're gonna have to go back to November,
With
or
all of
maybe
our
even
POs
August
that
or
we have
September.
from that point forward, and make sure everything matches up to where this was taken out of the correct claim or funds, so that way we're working with true numbers.
John, what do you say I have left my repairs and maintenance?
I'll make sure to send it, Gene, 'cause I don't know that, but I'll make sure saw it.
And yours, Billy?
Maybe we should change that too, but not everything.
So John, let me ask you a question. So we're looking at everything from November of 2022 to today's date then?
No, they haven't seen the claim, so that would be a starting point, Steve. But it may have to go back, as we said, farther behind in
September.
October or November.
Well, and I understand that, because there's a lot of things that, I mean,
In your 361 account, supposedly there's $14,453 in it, and nothing's been spent out of it.
So the bills I turned in since January 1st was $4,100.64. I create a spreadsheet in every line item, and when I turn in, when I put it on my spreadsheet, I turn it in to clerk treasurer.
Is there a record that the board has of the last time we signed?
See, I'm gonna tell you what I have done. I've spent the last week and a half going through what was submitted as far as a budget for 2023. And then I have taken every report, been up here and begged and borrowed and got a couple of reports. And the only thing I've got information-wise is what the fund balance was at the end of the year, because it finally did get submitted to Gateway. And then I've got what was appropriated, what had been spent as of the last time I was in here was Friday. And then, of course, we have tonight's thing is a little bit different because the general fund grew by $100 over the weekend. That's a good thing. But we don't have enough info. We're never going to have enough info. We used to get enough stuff that I could have pieced together approximately where you were, because we used to get copies of the checks that were paid to who and how much and all that kind of stuff. And at some point in time after the last audit, the clerk treasurer decided we didn't need to see that anymore. Which nobody realized that we were going to get into this predicament, or maybe we would have protested. But
Since when, John? What month did you say?
Since when? What?
You just said a month. We haven't seen them since September, is that what you said?
No, I have, sometime in 2021.
Oh.
Yes.
Right after the last audit. So,
And how accurate do we know the year-end report was, Steve?
well, we had, what was Saul's name, the CPA that worked on that.
Output?
Yes, thank you, that did it. And being a CPA, I would say it was probably fairly accurate, I would think.
But if he had inaccurate balances in all of their accounts, how could it become accurate?
Well, that's true. Garbage in, garbage out, I understand what you're saying. Well, the only thing I could see is to go through those books have a CPA actually, a firm go through it. I know the mayor and I talked about, what was the name of that?
Baker Tilly?
Yeah, have them come in and just go through them with a fine tooth comb and find out, first of all, what happened in 2022 to give us a balance at the end of the year, so we know where we can start from there.
And how much is that gonna cost?
I have no clue.
And where's the money gonna come from? to the budget.
Well, that budget got padded, so
It better be padded quite a bit.
it ain't gonna be padded enough for Baker Tilly.
Well, I'm sure.
Well, you gotta admit, I've inherited quite a mess, this thing. I mean, to go back to September and October to try and reconcile all the balances, I mean, I understand what you're saying and where we're at, but
So I'd like just to make a statement, so I make sure I understand what I'm hearing here. And let me ask a question first. So you have not seen November, December, and January, those 3 months for sure, right?
Yeah, so when I am doing anything where I'm asking for POs, when I look through my budget line, I'm looking at the appropriation report that I received as of November 30th, 2022. And luckily, I still hold on to all my appropriation reports from the previous year. So I've been kind of looking through where I should be and what I've used out of those in the previous years to try to reflect that, since I've not been using any numbers.
Okay.
But,
So November 30th, so really December and January.
well, it would have been probably through the end, we probably got those in early January, or I'm sorry, early December.
Okay.
So that would have been the report that would have been ran for the month of November. So we haven't seen any true numbers since the end of November.
Okay, so you've not approved anything for the months of December and January, just those 2 months. I'll get to the rest, just those 2 months.
To the best of my knowledge, yeah, I can't remember the last time we signed anything.
And we turned something into Gateway on April 1st that reflected what dates?
No, April 16th.
April 16th, that reflected what dates?
1/1 of 2022 through 12/31/2022.
The whole month of, all year of 2022.
So what did we turn in if we didn't have numbers for December and January and November?
Well, that's a good question.
Just those 3 months.
That's what I say, how could it be accurate?
And now we're talking about not having anything for February or March. You haven't seen anything in February and March. We just voted on waiting for approvals for April and May that the Board of Works is going to approve, right?
We didn't say that.
Well, I mean, what did we say?
We voted
Read that
that
again.
We have.
the council acknowledged
Yeah.
that they saw the same
Same thing.
report as the Board of Works.
So you saw April and May. That's this. Mine has April and May on it. I'm assuming yours does too.
I wouldn't say that.
Why won't you say that?
Because I've been on the finance committee for about 12 years, and I know none of that stuff matches up. That's why we said in the Board of Public Works 2 months ago that we need to get fund balances, or we'll have to
Okay.
shut them down, and recommend to the mayor to shut this down. Why? It's just like I said over and over the last 2 meetings. My wife can take a checkbook from Old National and go write checks,
Uh-huh.
but that's, if she don't know the balance, then she's doing it recklessness, and she's obviously fraudulent and bouncing checks. This is exactly what we're doing. We got people coming in for emergencies, getting POs, and then how can somebody release a PO if they do not know the balance? So that's why we haven't, for the last 2 months that I know of, ever approved the claims.
Okay. And I'm good with that. I don't think I'm coming after you, Bob. I'm
No,
just,
I'm not.
I'm upset like you are. I don't
I'm not
quite
yelling at
understand.
you at all. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, people, this is serious business.
Yeah, that's what I'm,
But the Board of Works can't take the action that the council can.
and what action would you like that to be? Honestly,
You have to look at how you're gonna get there
okay?
in a quick manner. And that'll have to come from you guys, because that's where the money's gonna have to be appropriated from. And you're gonna have to come up with an action. But it's really not the responsibility. It has to go to the clerk treasurer. When you run for office, you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, especially clerk treasurers, I send an email, reply to it, you must take these courses as soon as you take the office, whether you're appointed or elected. And you got it, that's a first step to getting to know your gateway program. And from that gateway program, you can really
go from there. POs are issued, you're tracking your POs. You can't write a check to a PO until you see the invoice coming in. Because that PO just says, okay, I got a blanket purchase order to go out and get this, but that's not gonna be my amount. So you can't turn around and write a check.
Right.
That's the understanding I'm getting from the department heads. I'm like, whoa, can't do this.
Well, I'm seeing
So
this.
I don't, that's an action that has to be taken where the clerk treasurer either says, I can fix this or can't. And if you can't do it, that means you can't fulfill your job. We can't provide the training for something like this. Either you come in, you got it, or you don't. We've had clerk treasurers, I've been here long enough as from the labor superintendent talking to council members, and a lot of great council members we've had in the past. And the thing, if you look at all the clerk treasurers we've had, the problem nails with, oh, I can do this. And then they try to stay on. And next thing you know, we're laying off the city. We're doing all kinds of stuff because we don't have the right numbers. And so then they throw in the towel and they leave. But then when they throw the towel in, it's too late. We're back to scratch one, digging. And that's where you go, you hear everybody out there saying, the city's broke. The city isn't broke.
No.
It's, we do not know where our fund balances are and how much is in each of these accounts that are correct. Because if you don't know where to pull the money out of the account to pay that bill, that's what these people were talking about earlier, which I think you all acknowledge. If you're not pulling that money out of exactly where it needs to come from, then your numbers are so jacked up, so they don't know where they stand. That is a clerk treasurer's problem, but it's got to get fixed. I don't think anybody here can fix that.
I agree with that. No names. Has anybody offered to help you, Steve? Did anybody offer to help the county that had financial backing, financial knowledge? Just yes or no?
No, nobody I know of.
There was an email that was sent to the Board of Works and the council offering assistance to help you.
Not that I know of. I will say one thing, that piece of paper that I passed around earlier, that is the first class for clerk treasurers to be offered this year. The mayor and I have talked about another class that's in the end of June that's being offered also for new clerk treasurers.
So on April 21st, nobody sent an email to both boards and the mayor's office saying they would be willing to help you with the county. Okay. All right.
Steve, when you applied for this job, did you have any idea what the duties were of that office?
Well, some months I was on city council.
But did you know what the duties as defined under Indiana code with that?
I had not read the code at that time. Well, I take it back. I had read, I see, I don't know what it was. It's the short narrative that gives, well, I can tell you.
It's Indiana code 36-4-10-4.5
Yeah.
for third-class cities.
Okay.
And it pretty much puts the blame or the responsibility, I won't say blame, the responsibility on your shoulders.
Right, right.
So you assumed a pretty big chunk of responsibility with probably very little knowledge of what you gained up here looking at the financial reports from another perspective other than producing those reports, correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that exactly, but.
So I would suggest you look at that code. I'd be glad to read it to you.
I can read.
Huh?
I can read, thank you.
What time frame did the State Board of Accounts go through when they come in and did their audit?
They're not done
It's not
yet.
done.
They're not done.
They'll be
They'll be
back.
back next week.
Are they going
They
through
took 2 weeks off.
like
It's a standard.
2022,
2021.
2023?
No, 2023, just 21, 22.
Steve, how many people ran for this position that you accepted? Not ran, but went, offered to be appointed or signed up for the appointment? How many?
I don't know, I know I just one person, okay.
And how many days does the office have to get filled by state law?
By state law?
Mhm. The day she resigned, it has to be filled within how many days?
30 days.
30 days. So you were the only person to sign up, and it had to be filled within 30 days. Were there any other options?
If there were qualified applicants.
And if there weren't qualified applicants, what
And
happened?
it stayed open.
Who makes that
Well-
choice?
Then it stayed open,
Stays open?
or should have stayed open.
Okay.
At this point, the clerk treasurer is the chief financial officer for a third class city.
That's right. And the way I read that part, that anyone that was to offer help or that he appointed come before this board for approval. I just can't go out here on the street and grab this guy and grab that guy, come in here. It's gotta be approved by this board. It has not been.
Do you have the state law for that?
Hmm?
Do you have the state law for that?
Do I have the state law for that? Yeah, I got it right here.
There's no screening process.
36-4-10.
36.
You would.
There's no screening process
And
you go
it tells you
through.
right there, 36.
So hire
dash
clerk.
4-10-4-5.
According to the
third class cities.
DLGF's thing,
And then it goes on. to
after
explain
you've already
right there
become clerk, you've got
where
30
they have to
days
bring
to
their book
start
deputies
getting
to the
educated.
board for approval.
That's their recommendation. I
Go
don't
on and
think,
hit.
I don't think they can arrest you for it if you don't do it. But with all the duties and responsibilities, and that, there is a lot of stuff.
So I guess one request, recommendation that I would have to the council and for Steve was as we try to start rectifying all this issues going back from wherever we're gonna set the starting date from. I think it'd be nice for us to have a meeting with Steve and probably John as the council president, once all that information is available, so we can go through it piece by piece, line by line, just to make sure things are coming from where they're supposed to be coming from, things are being paid the way they're supposed to be paid, and then once all that gets clarified, can get rectified in Gateway, whatever system it is that he's using, then we can get back, and I think that's gonna be the only way we're gonna get close to true numbers. Now, how long that's gonna take, I don't know. But from this point, getting the packet that you guys have in front of you tonight is gonna be helpful to a degree to us, but it's still kind of misleading at the end of the day. Because you still don't truly know what you're working on. Okay, great, I have an appropriation report that has a newer date on it. But from that point, like, we still don't truly know what those funds are accurate or not.
Are you past your 66.7 benchmark?
Real close, 68. I think it should be actually a little bit higher than that, because I said the utility bill that I was able to see, that was for, it was a little over $1,000. Now, I don't know if that's 1 month, 2 months. I know at one point in time, there was an issue where the light bill had not been paid at the firehouse for several months, and it was within hours of being disconnected. Luckily, we have a gas generator, so as long as the gas bill's paid, we still have lights. So I don't know how long that's been coming out of the operations budget, where that should be coming out of the public safety budget that has a line item for utilities. So say if there's $1,000 every month, well, there's $5,000 that should be back in my operations budget. And the same way, like where John pointed out, where I only have $900 in my maintenance, that should still be somewhere around $4,000 or $5,000 for the year. Because typically my maintenance items don't actually start happening today.
You've only got $30 in your office supplies. And, see, some of this stuff, like you got fire repair and maintenance fund 232, it's still sitting there at 100%.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
No.
But
Well, it could be if they didn't have anything broken.
Well, but see, that's the thing. Why is that one fully 100%? The other one's almost broke.
But there's still things that, like, we'll pull out of different things. I mean, even that maintenance and repairs, whether it's cleaning supplies, whether, like, we buy all of our oil and filters ahead of time when NAPA has their fuel tool cell, keep that on house, and then when the guy comes in to do all the repair, like we started doing the service today on the trucks. So all that stuff is bought ahead of time, maybe later in the year, and really once we get to November-ish, October-ish, that's when we start doing the bigger maintenance items. That's when we know, okay, if we have, like last year, we knew we had some extra money, so that's when we broke down and bought new tires for the truck. So that was the plan this year. So I mean, the first part of the year, yeah, it's usually, I would actually expect to see my percentage be somewhere closer to 75% right now.
Well, your total overall as of the 30th of April, your portion of the general fund, you were at 70.03% still available. And that's all of them lumped together.
Taking his suggestion, Chris's suggestion, John and the department heads and Steve, Bob, what do you feel? You feel that the board should have representation on something like that? Since
Well, yes, and we need to, Chris is on the right track. I think it's probably because of his previous experience, we've been in this situation. What's happened is we sit down. Department's head would sit down with the clerk treasurer, one-on-one with their budget, because they're actually the ones turning this into the mayor, and then the clerk treasurer doctors all up, and then we get our major budget. It goes on the process. They are the start of the process. The mayor tells them how much they can spend. They get to divide all this into all these line items, correct? So they should sit one-on-one, not together. One-on-one, we have to go in, we'd sit down with the clerk treasurer, and we'd say, okay, I would say, this is where I want all my oil. I have these certain bills that I budgeted to come out of this line item. Because that's how they do, that's how we do it here. That you're hearing him, you're hearing everybody except for us up here, down here at the Board of Works. We do not know where the department heads base their budget on. They're the only ones that know. To help Steve out to get on track, they'll have to sit on one-on-one and say, okay, here's the list. And then from there, Steve will know when he gets a bill in, not a PO, when you issue a PO, don't pay it, but when you get a bill, then you already know it, where it's going to, what line item it needs to be taken out of. From there, that'll make your job so much easier. Because when you come in and get a PO, I know a clerk treasurer used to throw it back at us. Great clerk treasurer. Everybody's been good once they get on board. She would say, what line do you want this taken out of? You had to give her the line, or she wasn't going to issue the PO. It makes sense. It's my budget. I tell her where I need her to take it out.
Well, and to be honest, along that same line of thinking, Chris, I think, has got a great idea. Because too many times I've had taken money out of one account and somebody said, no, you can't do that. It's got to come out of this one, or vice versa. And, right, I am doing this. But, we're all in this thing together. And nobody else wanted a job. I step up and tell them, okay, bottom line is, this man's willing to help. I'm willing to listen. And the other department head, fine, let's do that. I mean, that's a good idea. I mean,
I think what Bob said with being one-on-one, I think in previous situations was okay, but I think in this situation, with it being a little bit more in-depth, I think it'd be a better learning idea if it was a board member, a council member, the clerk treasurer, and the department heads. Just to sit there, just so that way, everybody's kind of getting the same education and the same clarity, so that way.
I'm on the same page.
I think that would just make it a little bit easier. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit more time consuming that way, but I think in the long run, it'll save us time.
I'll be honest, what I'm feeling, or what I've been thinking is, you know, a lot of times I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. I mean, granted, you know, this looks good, we'll take this out of the MVH non-restricted fund, okay, or we'll take it out of utilities when actually it should come out of someplace else. Like streetlights, for instance, would be MVH non-restricted, or would it be utilities, you know, and I think you're right. I think we're beating a dead horse if we try and rob Peter to pay Paul, like I said. But I like the idea of sitting down with department heads, board member too.
I'll make a motion that we follow that procedure, that the president represent the Board of Works with Steve and each of the department heads to try to get to the bottom of this. Otherwise, we're going to be here next month, the following month, the following
Exactly.
month.
We're going to be doing the same thing.
I'll make that as a motion.
I think we should have representation on that committee.
You got it. You're the president of the council. That's my motion.
I second.
Okay, I've got a motion to have the president of the council and a board of works member meet with each department head and the clerk treasurer and go over all of their finances and try and get them straightened out department by department. Roll call vote, please.
JT?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Bart?
Yes.
Marty?
Yep.
Department heads, I commend you for keeping the neck above water, providing the services, and not knowing what you have to work with. So each of you to be commended from my standpoint. I'm sure the council agrees with that. But thank you for what you've done over the last 4 or 5 months. It's not been easy, I'm sure.
I even owed to ask Steve the other day for my National Night Out Fund balance and the police equipment fund balance, and he can't produce them for me either.
I gave you the night out balance.
And we have, you didn't give me paperwork for it, so I can make sure my checkbook in the back is what shows what you have. It comes to bank statements come for the police equipment fund and National Night Out. I should get copies of that so I can balance my checkbook back in the back.
Yeah, your national night out's all donated.
That's all donations. And I'm starting to plan it, so I have no clue exactly where my balance is. I assume what I've got written down is correct, but I don't know.
So are you moving certified chairs so we can have payroll? Is that what's gonna be happening?
Should be.
I mean,
Steve's
I need to
Steve's the
know.
one that's gonna have to do it. Yeah.
I've got people in the street department, including myself.
Yeah.
And then you got fire and police.
According to this, you should have $1,060.70 in your National Night Out Fund.
I got looking at my checkbook back at it. And I know my police equipment fund, we made at least 2 deposits with it, so, and we've spent some money for equipment that I think use out of the budget, because I don't know where my budget's at.
Well, that was what the fund balance was, that was on Gateway at December 31st, and so far, nothing's been spent out of it.
Okay.
That's what I've got.
To answer your question, Cindy, Steve's the only one that can transfer that money, so he'll have to transfer sheriff.
So is that what you're doing, Steve, is you're gonna transfer out of?
I'm sorry.
Is that what you're gonna do, is transfer out for payroll?
Right.
Okay, we'll know what, I gotta know that. because I got kids sitting in that street car,
Yeah, what?
and you got fire and police. Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, because you see, in February, we had a $10,000 overdraw on payroll account.
right.
The bank notified us. So, and we also had, well, some other issues. In February. About February the 10th? The 8th. The bank notified me and said that we were overdrawn. Then the next day, they notified me and said that we had 3 checks bounced. So we got a hold of the appropriate authorities then, and they took care of it. But fortunately, they held the checks for us because one of the checks that bounced was the health insurance for our city employees. Okay, does anyone else have anything at this time? Any
I would
questions?
like to make a suggestion. I'd like to start this as soon as we could. If I give them an appropriation and paperwork tonight, we're back to square one again. If we start tomorrow, let's say, and I don't know what Chris's schedule looks like, but we could get started working on this and get this thing going.
Well, I think it's probably whatever.
That's up to the committee to set the.
Claims everything for as far back as you can get, and once you have as much information, the most current appropriated, like the numbers that they have right now, that we just need those account payable as far back as possible, just so we can bring in our POs that we've got from whatever date we decide we're gonna start with until current. And then we just kind of start checking them right off, we start balancing our checkbook at that point.
So which department do you want to do first?
Chris, you want to start?
We're doing it
Okay.
together.
Pardon?
I said, I thought we were doing it
Well, I think for
together.
department head, I think for each department, each
Yeah.
department comes in one-on-one.
Yeah.
I run 4 departments.
Well.
Yeah.
Then you get to sit there, you get to sit there 4 times, you get to sit there 4 times longer.
Once you get that, Steve, I think just get that information out to us, and I mean,
Then they'll set
I'm
up.
not expecting you to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't expect that whatsoever. I mean, I know it's gonna take some time to get that. I'd rather wait an extra week to get it right than try to rush into it 2 days.
Yeah, I
and be back
understand.
to square one.
So go ahead and work on the firehouse first then.
I'm sorry?
Fire department will be first, go ahead and do them, and then I do, since Cindy's got 4
Try to get a handle
departments.
on it before he gets his
Yes.
distribution from the county,
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
because then it's gonna be.
Well, they all could be working on it now.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, Stetlers have started mowing. You should be getting claims for mowing. Have you got those?
I not, no.
Okay, when you get those, you need to either give them to me and Scott, because some of those are for the parks, some of those for the retaining pond, some of those are for the cemetery. They are not paid out of one department.
Right.
And
See, that's a good point right there. I mean, that
just
says
that-
it all, you know, because.
If you could come to us when you get those claims, those bills, I put POs, that, I go to you to get POs, Steve, because I run the 4 departments. I don't make my own POs up. That's why I keep asking you for POs. I don't pay anything without a PO on it, but I get that PO from you.
I have a quick question. How long have you been in the treasury, in treasurer, clerk, whatever it is? How long?
Sworn in March 7th.
Okay, so just throwing it out there, the condescending comments and not backing them up, 100% mistakes mean you need to work as a team, 100%. But the condescending comments of assuming he can't read something and things is absolutely what is wrong here. We need to be working as a team. I don't care if one believes in something and another. There's a problem. We need to be working as a community to fix it. You guys need to be working as a team. There shouldn't be all these, I mean, the whole first 20 minutes was attacking him. You guys were drowning him every chance you got. I'm sitting back here, my heart is racing because I can't imagine being a human being just putting down people like that. You know, he's new, okay? There's been mistakes and I get that. Lord knows I get it. I 100% do. But there's no reason for all the condescending comments. There's no reason to drown somebody in front of everybody. Absolutely not. You guys, I came here expecting a team, and I am seeing everybody is divided. And it's not just him. There were smart comments to each other, and I don't get it. We need to be united. everybody wants the same goal. We want to be better. We want to make Clinton better. Why isn't that happening? We want to make sure that things work successfully for all these department heads. I feel your frustration 100%. I'm just saying, like, I just don't understand why everybody up there, not everybody, but why there's so many condescending comments. You know, it's very frustrating. I just had to say it. I just wanted to know a little background. I didn't know if you've been in it for a year. I had no idea. That's my fault for not doing my research. But I don't know. I just had to say my piece on it. You know, I think it's great working together, everybody's ideas over here, like, and it looks like there was a lot of miscommunication that's not being, or not retained. I don't know what the situation is, but I don't know. It bothered me. I had to say my piece. I respect you. I hope that everything works out and everybody is able to work with you and you can get on the right track for everybody. I really do. That's it. That's all. Sorry.
Thank you for your comment. Thank you.
I'd like to address her, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because all of us aren't invited to the party, that's why you see the division. Yes, there was an email sent on April 21st to the Board of Works and to the council and to the mayor's office that I'd done this kind of accounting for 20 years and I had offered my help. And nobody responded. Now I have come in and helped Steve. I came in and met with the Keystone. I came in and met with the State Board of Accounts. I've done research outside. I gave Steve information that he needed to try to help get along. But that was all unofficial because I'm not invited to help him. Right. I asked, but not one person responded to me.
I did not get that email.
Yes, you did.
Why are we still dividing?
Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
Can that be discussed now?
It could be on there, but I didn't get it on my
That's
computer.
what needs to happen right now.
It was in that chain right there where Patty's talking about.
The people who provide that budget, they have to sit down. Nobody up there knows how they thought to spend their money.
If anybody could.
That's
my
the
question is,
previous
can
email.
he
Now, if you scroll
help
down,
them
you'll see
now?
I
Like,
respond to
he
that by
has
saying I
experience
ain't
to
going
get
to
out of
help.
this hole. Everybody needs to help, and as much as we can get right now. I mean, why can't we allocate time for him to sit down and help him get out of the situation that everybody's in?
I mean, you guys all had great
The next
ideas
comment
sitting on
was to say,
but
John,
that's not
I
what
got
was
it,
referring to.
received.
I think.
So, I mean, people read this after.
Right there, it's really, to get going, they got to get in there and see and say, look, this is where it comes
And here's
out.
where,
This is what I have. He gives back, this is what I have that I know was paid from January.
Bob, and that's what Bob wrote that thing about. Just not being qualified. It was in that email. I'm sure you got that email.
And the biggest thing is too,
All of us that he
the
wasn't
biggest
qualified.
thing is like working together and not leaving anybody behind. We're all in
You didn't read that? Mine was attached right to that.
Exactly an accurate amount of money compared to what you're talking about to begin with. Would you know that? Can you just say?
I mean, my accounting manual for Chrysler was this big.
What's your budget?
This big. Every page had a different account number. So I mean, I've done this kind of accounting before.
Well, but I don't think it's your responsibility.
No, but we can't let the city close because
We're
nobody
not.
wants to be responsible.
We set the stage to get it taken care of tonight. Why is there any further discussion? We've got a committee, they're gonna start working on it, let's let it work. We can't go back and undo
Because if
everything
we're
that's been
still
done and
dealing
every
with the
email that's
division,
been sent.
the reason why there's more discussion is I am glad that these department heads are amazing and I appreciate all of them. And they've stepped up, but the reason why it's concerning is because there was so much division up there that it worries me that other people cannot be as successful. We're setting the platform for disaster. And that's very scary, and it's been going on for a long time, and I realize that, but I didn't realize how bad it was until today. And that's scary, you know, that's why, sorry, Bill.
Bart, are you offering additional help right now? Is that what you're saying?
I did back in April. There was
Are
an
you still
email
on
sent
the
out to
table?
everybody. Yeah, it's still on the table. The
So
city
what is
needs
it
to
you're offering?
survive.
Because
but-
anything right now obviously would be better than nothing with somebody that has the expertise that you do.
We have got the procedure put in place tonight
Well,
by
then
a
let's
council
change it.
vote.
I'm asking what else we can do to fix this
Well,
situation.
let's let this try to work first. These are the people that know their departments and know their expenses.
Okay,
And know
so
that
we
what
can't-
has
you're not allowed
something
to
to pay.
help them right now, is what
So
we're saying.
let's let this get to work.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Is fixing this situation.
Oh,
He's saying that he can add additional support anywhere, even just helping him file. why is that not being taken? Because obviously this is a shit show right now. It's nobody's fault that's here. Obviously, you know, what's happened in the past has created a situation. We need to get out of it. Why would we not take a great resource that we have and use him in addition to everything that's been going on? Because when that was actually set in place a few minutes ago, nobody knew that Bart had offered the additional help, and it's on the table now. So why isn't that being discussed? Because obviously he needs all the help he can get to get out of the situation.
Were you awake when he said that he had an assistant?
I was there when you said, you know, when you gave him a whole bunch of crap about it when he's trying to get additional
No, I didn't
help
give him crap. I gave him the state law.
I was there.
I gave him the state law.
That's great.
The Indiana code. I didn't give him crap. I didn't see any crap in that state ordinance. I gave him the state statute. I gave him the state statute.
I would like to actually be able to speak. You won't ever let me finish a statement.
All right.
You know, everybody wants to attack him right now. I would like to get some additional assistance. That's all I'm asking. But every time somebody says something to you, you want to attack them instead of work the situation out.
Who?
You.
Oh,
every
really?
time.
When I tried to bring out the law?
And you're attacking me and asking me if I'm awake.
Go back to sleep because you missed the point.
Well, we're getting out of control here. I won't put up with it from anybody up here or in the audience. So let's just get under control here. We've got a plan in place. Let's move forward with that plan. And I'm sure that this is going to work. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think that we are moving in the right direction. Yes.
To answer his question, what I am offering is more of an accounting entry assistance to Steve. Just so you know, there's an open door law, so John and I can't be in the accounting office at the same time. But when John and Bob, we'll meet with these people, as they said, I think that's the best course of action. But outside of that, as long as John's not in there, then I can come in and help him with data entry, because that's more my specialty. But I think those are two separate things.
Yes,
I think, yes.
What you're answering is what my question was.
I understood. Yeah, I understood your question.
Is can you do something to help the whole
Yes.
process that's been set in place make it move better?
Yes,
you
it
know,
sounds
you have
like
expertise and you're going to help. That's what I was asking.
they're going to
That's
work on
really
departmental entry. I mean, for goodness sake, I actually do Keystone servers, the server that he uses. I just rebuilt Newport's and had to completely get all their data back after a complete server crash. So I mean, I even know Keystone. Now I don't know the accounting side as well as the operational side, but I did do Chrysler accounting, and we had over 2,000 account numbers, so it's not much different than what I'm seeing here. So as far as entry and stuff, Steve, I'm more than willing to help you when you can find time for me. Just know that John and I can't be together. When he's helping you, then I can't be in the office. Okay. And I think Bob working with them to get all of their claims done is a great benefit. So I think this sounds like a good team plan. So you just let me know when you want my help, if you want my help. Okay.
In response to Mrs. Hamilton, there is a division at this table, and I think everybody sees it.
I went to the restroom at the opportune time. I'm not excusing. We don't need to yell. We don't need to be that way. But my husband is who he is, so I digress. But I just, you know, I don't mean to be so passionate about something, but I do. When I see division, it breaks my heart. It is 2023, folks. You want to tell somebody to wake up, it is time for everybody to wake up. It's time to get a grip. Because it's too much. You know, it's just, I don't know. I don't know why in 2023 anybody is divided at this point, but whatever. You know, it would be great because all of you are so unbelievably intelligent and have different talents in everything. It's amazing. You know, even man in the blue shirt, like he could fight, you could protest and win, you could polish a turd and sell it for $1 million. I mean, you are good. But like, why not use those together? You know, like come together. Why are we, you know, we need to support people. If somebody's new in a position, let's support them. Don't leave them behind. You know, and don't work with one department head but not the others. You know, and not saying you guys do that. I'm just saying in general. This is just an example. It's just, you know, everybody needs to work together. It's just, it's getting too old for this. You know, we are past this mess. We need to be able to see each other outside and say, hey, how you doing? You know, do you need something? You want a coffee? Something. We need to be those type of people.
I'm sorry, but I was corrected. That doesn't happen. We're only civil at this table. Once we leave this room, we no longer have to be civil. That's in writing.
That's
And I
fine.
was,
We're here. We
I
wanna-
was
we wanna
corrected,
help.
I was corrected when I brought that up. So, that's right. Yeah, the letter that you wrote, Jackie, was wonderful. Take out the line that says at this table and make it anywhere. Because we need to be civil everywhere, not just at this table.
Well, I try to be civil. So you're saying that you're civil to me when we're outside this meeting?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. You've never made any statements that were false about me?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
That's why I just sent a FOIA request in for you, because that's a rumor that you guys started that I don't believe is true. So if you want the FOIA request to stop making up lies. Because no, I did not.
didn't make a lie, have
Oh, yeah, you did.
I didn't put
Lori
anything out there on my
Kersey has
Facebook.
not been visiting my house.
I didn't say she had.
Oh, but Bob did. I didn't say it was you. Yeah, Bob, it came from you. I know it didn't come from you. That's right. But this is where it starts.
I don't even know what Floyd Kersey drives.
Okay.
Last time I knew she
Well,
lived
that's
on
where it
West
came
End
from.
Avenue.
Patty, would you like to explain to everybody where that came from? Because you're the one that said Bob Alexander said it.
Can we get back to the departments and the problems?
It is about.
I make
it's
a
about
motion
what
we
you-
adjourn.
Yeah,
Second.
second.
We're adjourned. We're adjourned.